And we welcome you inside the Moore Fitness Center for AAC men's basketball action. We've got a good one in store today. The undefeated 3-0 Bryan Lions in town to take on the 1-1 Columbia International Rams in a rematch of last year's AAC Conference Championship game. And while last year, the last time these two teams met was a battle for a trophy, today is much the same, but in a different manner. It's a brand new trophy. With more on that, we head down to the sidelines with our Claire Foley on the AAC's new Hiker Trophy. Claire?
That's right, Cade. All conference games have a level of importance, but like you said, this one even more so. This is the new trophy at stake here today called the Hiker Trophy. And the point of it started new in the AAC this year. Since Columbia International won the championship last year, they are in possession of this trophy right now, and it will continue to be so until they are beaten by an in-conference opponent. So Bryan is trying to take this away from them today. And if they do, then they'll maintain possession until they're beaten by an in-conference opponent.
Thanks so much, Claire. There you go. That's the Hiker Trophy. A in-state, the NBA has their in-season tournament going on right now, and, well, the AAC is doing much of the same thing with the Traveling Hiker Trophy through the Appalachian Athletic Conference. What a better name for a traveling trophy than the Hiker. We're just moments away from what is going to be an exciting men's basketball game today. A lot of anticipation heading into this one. Opening tip-off. We'll go to CIU. The starting five for Tony Stopman's squad: Jalen Brinson, Bryce Causey, DeAnthony Heathcott, Christian Howard, and Darian Oates. 4 of the 5 starters from last year back. An early turnover after Oates loses his handle. Here's the first look at Bryan and Jamari Bostic back to the top of the key for Caleb Grimes. Bostic heaves up a 3-ball to start it and buries. 30 seconds gone by in the first, and Jamari Bostic, the redshirt senior, averaging 14 points, but is second in the country right now with 13 rebounds a game as well. Anthony Heathcott can't answer. It's too strong. Caleb Grimes fouled in traffic by Jalen Brinson. That'll be his first. Columbia International's first team foul. But 4 of the 5 starters back for CIU. The only man lost from last year's conference title team was Skylar McKinney, who ran out of eligibility. So you bring in Christian Howard in his place, a player who last year was primarily one of the first 2 off the bench in the place of McKinney. He now fills that starting role, and through 2 games, Howard averaging 15 points and 7 rebounds. Bostic from the same spot, same result. Jamari Bostic back-to-back trays, and it's a 6-0 Bryan lead, a minute gone by. Causey, left elbow. Pass taken away by Ian Johnson. Stop, step back, 3-ball off the front iron, put back from Gales, draws the contact. Foul goes against Christian Howard, his first. Team's second, as the true freshman Johnny Wysong soon to step on after this first free throw from Dalen Gales. Sophomore guard, 20 of 21 to start the year from the stripe. Tacks on one more. And here's Wysong's first minutes. Forward out of Easley, South Carolina, just towards the upstate in Wren High School. Coming off a 7-point performance on Wednesday at St. Andrews. He'll take the place of Howard. Meanwhile, Gales sinks both free throws. An 8-0 Bryan lead over Columbia International, 90 seconds in. Wysong off the right arc, works his way back in the middle, finds Causey left side, and connects on the long 2. Bryce Causey back for his senior campaign. Dealt with some injuries last year, mainly his Achilles early on in the season, but fully healthy and ready to go. In the interior is Bauer. Turnaround right hand drops for the junior big man. And a team warning issued off to the Bryan bench for excessive celebrations. As Josh Bauer got the turnaround right-hand hook, transferred in his first year now at Bryan after spending the last 2 over at Dordt University in Ohio. Brinson, top of the key, crossover dribble, feeds Wysong. Right back for the senior point guard, Brinson. Oates sees the lane, then the paint collapses. 8 to shoot. Wysong from the corner. Left short. Bauer the board. Spins around Heathcock, and he'll give way to the guards at midcourt. A 10-2 Bryan lead. Pull up Jay from Grimes to the elbow. Clanks off the left side. Wysong, 3 ball on its way. And a beautiful note from Johnny Wysong. His first bucket of the afternoon. And the Rams cut the deficit down to 5. Now a steal on the defensive end. Up for Wysong. Right hand reversal. The true freshman puts on a show in his home debut. He's got 5 of CIU's 7 points. Columbia International trailed at 1 point, 8-0. They've cut the deficit down to 3, and Causey gets another takeaway. Brinson, right hand floater, kisses every inch of the rim and falls through. Columbia International back within 1. Nearly 4 minutes gone by here in the first half. A 7-0 CIU run. Bauer looking backdoor for Grimes. It's off the last touch from Bryan, and Columbia International will have the basketball. Brandon Hunt checks on for CIU in the place of Causey. Hunt makes his home debut after transferring in from Bethel University over in Indiana. Was a starter there for the last 2 years for the Pilots. Averaged 10 points and 7 rebounds a game last year. Darian Oates, top of the key, around a Heathcock screen with 13 to shoot. Out to the big man for a big 3, off the mark, right side. Rebound poked back out to Grimes. Heathcock might have got a tip on that, the layup left short. A 1 point difference. Brinson says hello to the lead and goodbye differential. 12-10, Columbia International in front, a 10-0 CIU run. Caleb Grimes, left side, drives into the paint and ties it back up. Caleb Grimes with his first points today. It came in averaging 13 through the Lions' first 3 of the year. Oates from the post. Short range shot rolls off. Grimes in the paint once again, stripped. It'll stay with Bryan. Jalen Jeter along with James Davis both check on for CIU in the places of Heathcock and Brinson. 2 starters, so we'll head to the sidelines. And Jeter makes an immediate impact off the bench. Bounce pass over to Hunt. Right side off the mark. The rebound poked back out of bounds. It'll stay with Columbia International with 20 on the shot clock. Wysong from the baseline. James Davis left all alone. 3-pointer just offline. Christian Howard back on the floor for CIU in the place of Wysong, who exits with the team best 5 points to start this one. All tied at 12, just almost 6 minutes in. Ian Johnson, the 2 guard, into the paint, trying to spin his way inside. CIU looking for 3 seconds, and they get it finally. The 5th turnover of the first half for Bryan. Columbia International with just 2 giveaways, and it was on their first 2 possessions. Davis trying to feed Howard in the post. Bostic pokes it away. Bryan trying to reclaim their lead. Gales right hand layup won't fall. Jeter from beyond the free throw line banks it in. Jalen Jeter with his first bucket this afternoon, the junior hometown kid from right here in Columbia. Spin move Grimes. Shot looked to be blocked by Jeter, but a foul whistle. Jeter making the contact with the forearm with the opposite hand. That's his first. Columbia International's third team foul. As Caleb Grimes steps to the stripe, the redshirt senior out of Nashville. Pinball's out the first attempt. Grimes had 26 points in the season opening win over Cumberland back on October 26th. Tacked on 10 points against Dalton State and finished with 6 on Wednesday in Bryan's first conference battle against Johnson. Grimes sinks the second as Columbia International leads it 14-13. A 12-3 run has brought CIU back into this one after facing an early 8-0 deficit. Possession stays with the Rams just in front of the Bryan bench. Jeter around a screen. Right elbow, swish. Jalen Jeter now with 4 points, and it's 16-13 CIU. Bauer in the paint. Turnaround right hand off the front iron, and an offensive foul against Bryan. It goes against Keller Dye, his first. Bryan's first team foul. Seven minutes gone by here in the first half. Columbia International in front of Bryan 16-13 and a rematch of last year's conference championship game. Jeter loses his footing. Grimes capitalizes. The steal and the bucket for Caleb Grimes. He's got 5 of Bryan's 15 points. Another turnover from CIU. Up the floor for Dye. And as his layup looked to bounce in, an extra tap from Gales will wave it off for goaltending. Immediately Dye looked back to his teammate and with frustration, he felt like that one was going to hop in. It didn't need the extra touch. And it would have given Bryan a 1-point lead. Bounce pass for Jeter. Right elbow once again. This time it pinballs off. And the rebound is grabbed by Dye. Clock coming up on 12 minutes left here in the first half. Columbia International leading Bryan 16-15. Dye in the paint, whistled for the travel. Columbia International brings back their starting point guard and Jalen Brinson. We also see first appearance of Reed Warga, junior guard out of Piedmont, South Carolina, getting his first game minutes today. Warga had 2 points on Wednesday night against St. Andrews in 5 minutes. As Jeter and Davis both step aside. A 1-point lead for CIU. Out top for Will Kelly, the Lenore Ryan transfer. He drives in left hand, layup, not enough. In the middle, Bauer soars up for the board and one. A 3-point opportunity here for Josh Bauer. Warga draws the contact, his first. Columbia International's fourth. A host of substitutions on both sides. As Columbia International brings back 3 more starters on the floor in Howard, Causey, and Oates. Meanwhile, Bryan checks back on Jamari Bostic their leading scorer and rebounder. Bauer at the line for one. An Albany, Oregon native. Shooting 64% from the stripe to start the year. And he'll make his first attempt today. Immediately heading to the sidelines as Nick Roberts checks on. The senior center gets his first minutes. 11 and a half left in the first half. 18-16, Bryan leads Columbia International. Howard out for Causey. Fake the pass, goes to the top of the key for Oates. Darian Oates works his way into the scorebook. One of the Rams' top scorers from a season ago tonight in his 120th career game for Columbia International. Down low for Bostic. Draws three defenders. Kicks out to the open Roberts. And Bryan jumps on to the defensive mishap from CIU. Over the top for Howard. And he'll power his way in for the bucket. Tied back up at 21. It's a battle. Around a screen. Johnson back up top. Bryan has sank each of their last three shots from the floor. Bostic off the glass. The big man out of Ripley, Tennessee, has got 8 points here in the first half for Bryan. The Lions lead it by 2. CIU looking to answer, and they'll get a chance at a three-point play. Darian Oates with an and one opportunity. As Logan Allen picks up his first personal here in the first half. Bryan's second team foul. Oates at the line for one, a career 85% shooter. His first one today. Is too strong. Rebound grab by Caden Johnson, weaving his way through traffic. Feeds Bostic. Hit 2 3 balls from that left arc earlier on. Takes a third crack. This one clanks off the right side. Tied up at 23, under 10 minutes left in the first half. Right corner, Causey. Too much. Bostic the board. His first rebound today, the NAIA's second leading rebounder in the country. And an offensive foul on a moving screen from Roberts. His first, Bryan's third. As Johnny Wysong returns for Columbia International in the place of Reed Warga. There's a lot of new faces surrounding this team, and earlier in the week, we caught up with Rams head coach Tony Stockman as to what he likes most about this team, and more on that. Here's our Claire Foley. Claire?
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, once a season starts, the first thing a coaching staff has to do is recruit their team back, and that's exactly what head coach Tony Stockman did. He was able to bring back every eligible player from last year's team. And speaking with Coach Stockman yesterday, we asked who he looks to as a veteran leader. He said, obviously, fifth-year Jalen Brinson, the 3-year starter. He's been one of their top scorers over the years. He has 5 so far here tonight. But also asked who's been surprised for him from the younger guys. And he says freshman Johnny Wysong. He says when he recruited him, he knew he was going to be good and going to be a good fit for the program. But he's really been impressed with what he's seen so far. He said he was a little slower through the first 2 games as he was adjusting to the speed of the collegiate game. But he says since then he's liked what he's seen. And appearing in every game so far, he also has 5 here today.
Johnny Wysong's been big here in the first half. Thanks so much, Claire. As a freshman face works his way into this lineup. We've seen that over the last few years, that Tony Stockman is not afraid to plug in a freshman in his fast-paced offense as long as they're able to keep up. Darian Oates, after sinking the first free throw, knocks down both and gives Columbia International a 2-point lead. 25-23 CIU, 9 minutes left in the first half. Anthony Heathcock back on for CIU as Gales looks to drive on Causey. Powering his way in, layup not there. Loose rebound snagged by Oates. Wysong left all alone, and he'll drop it straight through. It might not be much, but a 4-point lead for the Rams, their largest in this game. Caden Johnson unable to answer. Layup left short. 8.5 to play in the first half. Wysong driving baseline. He'll step out of bounds and turn it over. Grimes and Bauer back on the floor for Bryan. Two players combining to average almost 35 points a game through Bryan's first 3 contests of the year. All wins over Cumberland, Dalton State, and just this past Wednesday over Johnson. Bauer driving, shot left short, and he'll draw the contact. Johnny Wysong picks up his first. Columbia International's 5th team foul as Bauer steps to the stripe. A transfer from Dordt University in Sioux City, Iowa. That made free throw gives Bauer 6 today. Through 3 games so far, he's put up 18, 25, and 15. He's been an immediate impact player and a player that head coach Don Rakowski has said he's felt like at times has been their best player to start the year. He goes 2 for 2 from the stripe and cuts the deficit down to 2. 27-25 Columbia International. 8 minutes to play in the first half. Feeding Heathcock. Right hand reversal, but he'll step back out of bounds on the baseline. Anthony Heathcock still scoreless here in the first half. He's 0 for 2 from the floor, a player that Columbia International would love to get going. Really made an impact last season. 9 double-doubles, averaging 15 points a game and 8.5 rebounds last year. Underneath for Bostic, trying to back down Wysong. Out for Bauer. Turnaround, right hand, rolls off as Anthony Heathcock wrestles in for the rebound. Up for Darian Oates. Pump fake. 3-ball, money. Darian Oates from downtown. He's got 10, and the Rams have 30. Up 30-25. 7 minutes and change left here in the first half. Bauer on Wysong. 6 to shoot. Short range jumper rolls off. Bostic the offensive glass. Second chance, not there. Heathcock now with 3 rebounds. Jeter out for Oates. He wants it again, this time too strong. Bostic climbs the ladder for the tall rebound. He's got 8 points and 3 boards. Grimes off the screen, back to Bauer. Short range shot, pinball's out. Bryan has now missed each of their last 7 from the floor. They haven't made a shot in almost 4 minutes. Meanwhile, CIU has sunk 5 of their last 7. 13 to shoot. Davis, kick out for Jeter. Corner 3. Too much. Grimes in transition. No foul, and he'll dribble himself out of bounds. Everyone for CIU had their hands pointing high to the ceiling as Grimes is looking to draw the contact. Wysong and Heathcock back to the sidelines as Howard and Hunt return for Columbia International. .540 to play in the first half. A 5-point lead for the Rams. Howard trying to cut inside for Hunt, and it's taken away. Johnson at the straightaway. Underneath now for Bauer. Over for Bostic. Fadeaway Jay banked in from the big man. Jamari Bostic
Now the team leading 10 points for Bryan as they're back within 3. Howard, middle of the paint, airballed out. 5 minutes left here in the first half, and we haven't had a stoppage of play yet. Neither team taking a timeout. They have just been battling. Oh, look at that. Bryan will take a timeout here. 5 minutes left in the first half. Columbia International in front, 30-27. We'll be back in 60 seconds on the CIU Sports Network. Five minutes to play here in the first half. Columbia International on top of Bryan, 30-27, as the two teams got off to a hot and competitive start. So far here through the first half, 3 ties and 5 lead changes. The largest lead so far for Bryan was 8 points when they jumped out to a 10-2 lead early on. Then Columbia International would battle their way back and lead by 5 just moments ago. But two teams that started out strong have gone on to a cold streak as of late. Bryan has made just 1 of their last 8 from the floor. Meanwhile, Columbia International, they haven't scored in almost 2.5 minutes. Bostic left elbow. He's got 10, back out for Grimes. Clock rolls under 5 minutes to play here in the first half. 10 seconds to shoot for Bryan. Left side, Gales for 3, and he buries it. Dalen Gales from downtown was shooting just 18% from beyond the arc coming in, but he now has 5 points with his first shot from the perimeter. Tied back up at 30. Jeter, baseline, out for Hunt. We've got a foul underneath on the pass. As Ian Johnson will pick up the block, his first. Bryan's 5th team foul. Brenson and Heathcock back onto the floor for CIU with Jeter and Howard stepping off. Tied at 30, clock just above 4 minutes left in the first half. Brenson's pass to Heathcock, a skip too far, back out of bounds. The scoring drought for Columbia International now climbs over 3 minutes. And an offensive foul off the screen goes against the Lions and Bostic, his first. Bryan's 6th team foul. It's always a competitive ball game between these two. In fact, all time, the series almost split right down the middle. Bryan a slight advantage all time. They've won 6 of the previous 10 meetings. Just go back to last year. They split the 2 regular season meetings, the home team winning in each of those 2. But the third and most important was in the AAC tournament title game, where Columbia International came away with the victory. The first men's conference tournament title in program history for CIU. Davis beats the shot clock off the window. James Davis with his first points on the afternoon, and Columbia International back in front by a pair. Bauer unable to respond as Heathcock soars in to grab it off the glass. Kick out for Oates. Back over for Brenson. Into the corner for Oates. Pinballs off. Bauer the board. Under 3 minutes left here in the first half. 32-30. Columbia International in front of Bryan. The Lions trying to snap its offense into a rhythm, making just 2 of their last 10 from the floor. Grimes, layup tipped out by Columbia International. It'll stay with Bryan with just 1 second on the shot clock. 2:29 on the game clock. Be a quick catch and shoot here on the inbounds. And instead, a mistimed pass rolls into the backcourt, and Bostic has no choice but to just pick it up. Had no possible way of getting a shot off. Under 2.5 minutes left here in the first half. Coming up at the break, our Claire Foley down the sidelines. We'll check in with Rams head coach Tony Stottman as his team looks to take a lead in the locker rooms, right now up by 2. Heathcott, straight away 3 ball. Too strong, and it'll be out of bounds after it took a hop up to the top of the goal. Caleb Grimes has 5 here in the first half. He's also dealt out 2 assists. The senior point guard driving, looking to kick it over, and instead gives it away. 2 minutes left in the first half and a 2-point lead. Floater from Brinson, left short. It'll be Bryan basketball. Bryan, 13 turnovers here in the first half. Uncharacteristic. 3 ball off the front iron from Johnson. 90 seconds left before the break. A 32-30 CIU lead. And the 10th turnover of the half for Columbia International. These 2 teams have just grown cold offensively. The Rams 1 for their last 7 from the floor. Bryan 2 of their last 11. The Lions haven't scored in over 3 minutes. .15 to shoot. Grimes, a dish over to Johnson, but take away his 3 ball on an illegal screen from Gales. His first, Bryan's 7th team foul with 1:10 to go. 32-30, Columbia International in front of Bryan. Underneath for Heathcock. Brinson, right side 3 ball with a swish. Jalen Brinson's got 8, and the Rams lead it by 5. 20 seconds to shoot, 40 to play. Columbia International heavily defending Bostic. His 3 ball won't go. Brinson weaving his way through traffic as the shot clock is turned off. He'll slow it down. 20 seconds to play here in the first half. .13 seconds. Now 10 for the senior point guard. 9, 8. Brinson, top of the key. Gets a screen. Kicks back up top. Wysong, the 3 ball. Too strong. Gales, the last second heave. Won't get there. That takes us into halftime. A 35-30 Columbia International lead that was really brought on, especially late in the first half, by the Rams' defensive efforts as they held Bryan scoreless for the final 4.5 minutes of the first half, creating 4 turnovers in that time, and Bryan going just 2 for their last 12 from the floor. At the break, it's a 35-30 Columbia International lead. We'll step aside and be back with Rams head coach Tony Stoutland. We return on the CIU Sports Network. Back here inside the Moore Fitness Center at halftime. Columbia International leading Bryan 35-30. We'll send it down to the floor and check in with our Claire Foley, who's standing by with Rams head coach Tony Stoutland. Claire?
Thanks, Kate. Coach, talking to you yesterday, you said you really wanted to limit Bryan in the transition. What do you like about how you're forcing them to move the ball so far here tonight?
Yeah, I thought we've done a good job of that. We're getting back. And with them, you got to find shooters. And I thought we've done a good job of limit their 3 points or open 3 points at least. Got to do a little bit better at guarding the ball with penetration. We're letting them get in there, but all in all, I think it's pretty good. 30 points in the first half for them. I think we're doing good.
And you said that they're a team that's going to wear you down in the first half. What's the message to the team going into the locker room about how to come back with some energy too?
Yeah, they just put so much pressure on you to stay focused and mentally on defense. And then they're hard on offense too, because they help and they help a lot and they make you move the ball and it's tough. So hopefully we can be mentally tough and come out and we can have the same kind of half we had.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
That takes us into halftime. A 35-30 Columbia International lead over Bryan as the Rams hold Bryan scoreless for the final 4.5 minutes of the first half. Does that defensive momentum carry over to the second? Find out when we return for the second half here inside the Moore Fitness Center on the CIU Sports Network. Back inside the Moore Fitness Center, we make our way to the second half in this rematch of last year's conference championship game. At the break, Columbia International leading Bryan 35-30 out of the locker rooms as Columbia International looks to keep its defensive prowess on track that they picked up over the last 4.5 minutes in the first half, holding Bryan without a point for nearly the final 5 minutes of the first half. Caleb Grimes hoisted 3 in the air. It pinballs out for Bryan. They're 4 of 9 now beyond the arc in this one. Darian Oates with a team-high 10 points. Dishes over to Anthony Heathcock, who uncharacteristically was held scoreless. They were in the first half, Heathcock averaging close to 14 a game coming in. Oates back into the paint, pull-up short-range jumper, drops through. Give Darian Oates 12, and Columbia International a 7-point lead. Jamari Bostic at the top of the key, over for Ian Johnson. Around the Bostic screen. Johnson's J too strong. Brinson commanding the CIU offense. Up and over for Causey from the right side. Bryce Causey powers his way in for his second bucket of the afternoon. The senior out of High Point, North Carolina, puts CIU in front by 9, their largest lead of the game. Bryan still looking for their first points in the second half with a minute and a half gone by. Bostic, straightaway 3-ball, clanks off the left side. Bauer takes away the outlet pass. Second chance, points off the turnover. Gales can't connect, but Bostic there to follow it up. Give the big man 12 points, matching a game high for Bryan. Bostic now 14 points and 5 boards. Brinson looking for Heathcock, finds him in a double team, back over to Howard, who maneuvers up the left hand. 41-32, Columbia International. Bauer, miscommunication between he and Gales. It looked like Gales may have even slipped a bit. A turnover for Bryan will give Columbia International the basketball. Well, they're half of the floor. And take care of that spot where Gales slipped. 41-32. Columbia International leading Bryan. A 6-2 Rams advantage so far here in the second half. Brinson, top of the key, working on Grimes. 15 to shoot for CIU. Oates, left elbow, fadeaway, bucket. Darian Oates with 14, and Columbia International goes on top by 11. Handoff for Gales. Working inside on Causey. Johnson with 10 to shoot. Drives left side of the lane. Layup won't go. Causey in the corner. Not enough. 3 minutes gone by here in the second half. Columbia International holding a 43-32 lead. Grimes connects on the step-back jumper. Timeout, Johnson. 16:30 to play. And CIU is in front 43-34 over Bryan. 30-second timeout. We'll be right back on the CIU Sports Network. Back out of the Bryan timeout, the Lions trail CIU 43-34. 3.5 minutes into the second half on this Saturday afternoon. And a clash of two AAC foes, both having the talent, both coaches complimentary, of course, of both teams, but both said they felt like their opponents had the talent this year to win the conference championship. Of course, CIU took down Bryan in last year's tournament title game. 15 to shoot for CIU. Darian Oates into the paint. Runs into traffic, and we've got a jump ball in the circle. Arrow stays with CIU. I'll have 10 on the shot clock. Pair of fresh faces check on as Wysong and Jeter get their first action the second half. Causey and Howard will head to the sidelines. 10 seconds to shoot for CIU as Heathcock will have the inbounds on the baseline. Brinson with 5 to shoot. Right arc, 3 seconds. 2, Brinson running jumper off the mark, and an offensive foul on the rebound against Heathcock. Was trying to climb over the top of Bauer, and Heathcock will pick up his first personal and first team foul. Clock approaching 15 minutes left. Grimes left alone at the free throw line. Won't connect on the uncontested jumper, but Gales is there to follow up. Dalen Gales now with 7 points. And he's cut the deficit to just that for Bryan. Oates shot left short. Gales fouled and will get 2 at the line. DeAnthony Heathcock, the guilty party, his second. Team's second foul as well. DeAnthony Heathcock today 0 for 3 from the floor. He has grabbed 5 rebounds in 18 minutes, but now 2 personal fouls. Everyone jumping in, trying to wipe up the floor. (43-36), Columbia International in front of Bryan. Dalen Gales at the stripe. Won't knock down his first. Now 2 for 3 on the afternoon. Gales just his second miss of the season. Now 22 of 24 on the year. And his second takes a few hops before it drops through. The lead is at 6 points for Columbia International with just over 15 minutes left to play. Darian Oates in the corner. Up for Wysong, underneath for Heathcock. It's poked away. Postic there to corral it. Bryan this afternoon has 13 points off turnovers. Can they add to it? No. Grimes whistled for the travel. The 15th turnover in this one from Bryan. James Davis back into the ball game for Jalen Brinson and CIU. Darian Oates with a game-high 14 over for Heathcock, sealing for his first points. Wysong handoff Davis. Looks at the 3 and sees it through. James Davis with his first made basket from the perimeter. It's a 46-37 Columbia International lead, under 15 minutes to go. Foul off the ball over in the paint. The pass was skipped across the logo. Off the ball, we saw Johnny Wysong with a hold on the back of the jersey of Bauer. as Wysong will pick up his second, team's third. And Brandon Hunt checks into the ball game for DeAnthony Heathcock. Grimes with 15 to shoot. Johnson, top of the key, 3-ball. Off the mark, Jeter the board. Wysong mishandled the pass, now takes it into the paint. But the follow-up slam from Hunt. (48-37) CIU. Bostic, top of the key, responds with a 3. Foul up top on Grimes. Got in for the reach, his first. Bryan's first team foul. Logan Allen back into the ball game now for Bryan. As is Caden Johnson up top looking for Hunt for another slam. The lob left a little short on the inbounds. Bostic in the paint. Turnaround fadeaway. Jamari Bostic yet again, now with 17 points. A 6-point lead for CIU, and James Davis whistle for the travel. Make it 14 turnovers this afternoon for the Rams. Bostic, low post. Left hand, can he do it once more? The answer is yes. Jamari Bostic climbs closer to a 20-piece this afternoon. He's got 19. The deficit is down to 4 for Bryan. Over the top for Hunt. From the circle, going up, he's fouled. Foul against Bauer. His first. Bryan's second. Brandon Hunt, the transfer from Bethel, sinks his first free throw today. Was 0 for 2 through the Rams' first 3 games of the season. He makes it a 2 for 2 trip at the stripe. 50-44. Columbia International in front of Bryan. Caden Johnson spin into the paint. He's fouled and gets the roll. A 3-point play with a chance here for Caden Johnson. James Davis picks up the foul, his first, as Johnson steps to the line. The true freshman out of Chattanooga. Free throw is left short. The lead is at 4 for Columbia International. Davis fouled on the drive by Johnson. His first, Bryan's third. Columbia International looking for points here, as Bryan has snapped into an offensive rhythm, making each of their last 4. Timeout, Columbia International. CIU in front, but not by much. 50-46. Columbia International leads Bryan here in AAC men's action. 30-second timeout. We'll be back on the CIU Sports Network. Back here on the CIU Sports Network, a 50-46 Columbia International lead over Bryan, though the Lions out of Tennessee trying to stay on track offensively. They've made each of their last 4 from the floor. Rams basketball out of their own timeout. Reward on the sidelines to the post for Howard. Bounces over to Jeter. His layup goes high and out of bounds. And the referee's going to counsel here, was that layup tipped up into the goalpost? And it will stay with Columbia International after initially being given to Bryan. A 4-point lead for CIU, 12 minutes to go. Reed Wargo around the screen, stops at the free throw line, gives way to Hunt for 3. It pinballs out. The loose rebound is grabbed by Logan Allen. Bostic takes the 3-ball chance off the front iron. And the loose rebound last touched by CIU. Jalen Brinson checks back in for the Rams in the place of Davis. Under 12 minutes to go and a 4-point lead. Howard tangled it up, is able to dump it off to Brinson. Lob it up for Hunt. Left a little short, dishes out to Jeter. Too strong. Warga the offensive glass. Second chance points here for CIU. They have just 2 here today on second chance efforts. Brinson dishes over to Jeter. Into the lane. Floater blocked back out by Bostic. Darian Oates, the Rams' leading scorer, back on for Hunt. Oates with 14 points today on 5 of 10 shooting, including 2 made baskets from beyond the arc. Brinson, 2 to shoot. Floater left short. It'll be a shot clock violation. Columbia International without a made basket for over 2.5 minutes now. The Rams have missed each of their last 5. A 4-point deficit for Bryan. Hold called at the top of the key. As that pass from Roberts looked to be a little offline, we know why. It's because Howard was holding the back of Roberts' jersey. That's Christian Howard's 2nd. Columbia International's 5th. Anthony Heathcock back into the ball game for CIU in the place of Jalen Jeter. Heathcock, a player that the Rams want to get going offensively. As Roberts pulls up for a 3, it's off the mark. Heathcock grabs the board. Heathcock, no points. He's gone 0 for 3 from the floor. You have to go all the way back to his sophomore season, the last time that Anthony Heathcock was held scoreless into a ball game. February 3rd, 2022. Played 11 minutes against Truett McConnell, and that was the last time that Anthony Heathcock was held scoreless. And the only time in the last 3 years. 3 to shoot. Causey off balance. 3-ball is a swish. String music from Bryce Causey. Caden Johnson pressured heavily here by Brinson. Over for Roberts. Columbia International in front by 7. 10 minutes left. Gales driving on Causey. Shot left short. Heathcock powers his way in for the board. Over for Brinson. Causey looked at the 3 once more. Instead, will give to Brinson to reset the offense. Howard into the paint. Right hand drops straight through. A 9-point lead for Columbia International. Bostic stops and is whistled for the travel. Was looking to avoid the block attempt from Heathcock, but just drug his back foot when he stopped. The 19th turnover of the ball game for Bryan. $9.5 left. 55-46. Columbia International leads Bryan. Oates, left wing. They swing it around for Brinson. 10 seconds to shoot. Back up top, Heathcock. Straightaway threes, scoreless no more. Anthony Heathcock knocks down the trifecta and pushes CIU's lead to the largest they've had in this one, 12 points. Ian Johnson can't answer. 58-46 CIU. Howard falls and slips up the floor for Bauer, and he'll step out of bounds on the far sideline. Christian Howard slipped and fell back in the backcourt and is still down with injury. We'll take an injury timeout here, 8:43 to play in the first half. We'll be back. Back here in the Moore Fitness Center as Christian Howard was helped over to the sidelines after slipping with an injury. 8:43 left here in the second half. We definitely hope to see Christian Howard return. He's worked his way into a starting role this year, averaging 14 points and 8 rebounds a game early on in the season. A 58-46 CIU lead over Bryan. Columbia International basketball with 18 to shoot. Oates into the lane, right hand reversal goes off the glass. Darian Oates now with 16 points, and it's a 10-0 CIU run. Johnson fouled in traffic by Brinson. That's his second. Team's sixth. In the midst of a 10-0 run from Columbia International, Bryan without a bucket for the last 4 minutes. Bauer kicks back over to Ian Johnson in the corner. Johnson in the paint, jumper short. Bauer hauls in the loose ball. His second chance effort bounces off. Bryan can't buy a bucket. Under 8 to play. In this one, a 60-46 Columbia International lead. Oates around the screen with 5 to shoot. Brinson with 3. Too strong. Rebound poked out of bounds. It will stay with Columbia International, and they'll reset the shot clock here, as Brinson's shot did connect with the rim, so a fresh 20 up there for CIU. As Bostic and Grimes both return for Bryan. Bostic 19 points. Grimes pitching in 7. 2 of the top scorers this afternoon for Bryan. The lob for Heathcock, too long. Grimes the takeaway. A 14-point deficit for Bryan, the largest they face today. A foul off the ball in the post against Heathcock. That's his 3rd, and Columbia International's 7th, which sends Bryan to the line. Bauer at the stripe, shooting 64% on the season. Sinks the first to earn a second. Bauer now 4 for 4 from the line this afternoon. And his second will rattle through. 7.5 left to play. A 60-48 lead. Heathcock wide open. Left wing 3, left short. Bostic working on Heathcock. Turnaround jumper. Bounces off. Wysong the board. Bryan now 0 for their last 8. Six and a half to go. Columbia International on top by 12. Oates with 6 to shoot. Turns around, powers in with the right hand. Timeout, Columbia International. 62-48. CIU on top with 6:18 to play. We'll be back in 60 seconds here on the CIU Sports Network. Back here inside the Moore Fitness Center, 62-48. Columbia International in front of Bryan, 6:18 to play here in the ballgame. Just moments ago, we saw one of the Rams' starting forwards in Christian Howard go down with an injury and was checked on by the training staff. With more on injury update, here's our Claire Foley. Claire?
Thanks, Cade. Yeah, it looks like he was just poked in the eye. He's down here just rubbing his eye. He sent it over to the side, checked out by the training staff, but he's looking okay. Hopefully we can get him back in here at the start of the break.
Thanks, Claire. As we work our way back in, 62-48. Columbia International leading Bryan with 6 minutes left. Johnson, right elbow, jumper left, short. Under 6 to go. Columbia International on top by 14. Heathcock on the baseline. Back out for Wysong. Free ball off the mark. Grimes from downtown. Too strong as Heathcock soars in for the board. Heathcock out of the corner. Fouled on the baseline, fouled on the floor. As Bostic picks up his second. Make that his third. Team's fourth. Oates will slip, but able to maintain possession. The clock rolls under 5 minutes. Brinson, a bounce pass over for Darian Oates. Shot clock will expire on the Rams. A lot of slipping this afternoon out on the floor. A 62-48 Columbia International lead. Bostic, spin move to the low post with the bucket. Jamari Bostic now the first one today to top 20 points. He has 21. He's drawn Bryan back within 12. Brandon Hunt back over for Brinson. 15 to shoot for CIU. The lob for Hunt, just a bit too long. His possession poked out of bounds with 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Causey on in the place of Jeter with 4:05 to play. The Rams will have 10 seconds to shoot on the baseline. Brinson with 5, out for Causey. 3 ball with 3 seconds left, off the mark. Heathcock's follow-up draws the contact. Anthony Heathcock, the senior out of Cartersville, Georgia. First free throw up and in. Heathcock now 11 of 16 from the stripe this season. And his second will pinball out. A 13-point lead for Columbia International, under 4 to go. Bauer at the straightaway gives back to Bostic. Bostic, long 3 ball on its way. It's Hunt there to snag it down. Columbia International looking for a bucket for the first time in nearly 3 minutes. Heathcock on the baseline, jumper left short. Grimes trying to find Bostic. He's been the hot hand. Right elbow jumper, skips off. Offensive glass grab by Bauer. His putback is not enough. Two teams exchanging misses. Gales into the lane. Floater rolls its way in. Timeout, Bryan. 2:48 to play. Columbia International in front, 63-52. We'll be back on the CIU Sports Network. Back inside the Moore Fitness Center. 2:48 to play. It is 63-52. Columbia International in front of Bryan. Columbia International this afternoon leading the charge has been Darian Oates. 18 points today for the graduate guard. You've had Jalen Brinson pitching in 8, Bryce Causey with 7, as does Johnny Wysong with 7 points. Out of the Bryan timeout, it's CIU basketball. Brinson, Causey, Wysong, Heathcock, and Oates, the 5 men on the floor. Darian Oates, low post, double team, loses his dribble, taken away by Bostic of Bryan. Grimes. 3 ball to cut the deficit to single digits, off the mark, but Ian Johnson's follow-up draws the contact. Johnny Wysong, the guilty party, his 3rd. Columbia International's 8th, as Ian Johnson will step the line. Scoreless in this one. Johnson 0 for 8 from the floor, came in averaging close to 18 points a game. His first trip to the line, and he sinks his first. Johnson, the senior out of Chattanooga, getting the unique opportunity this season to play with his younger brother Caden on the squad, but also getting to watch their dad, Gabe Johnson, coach Bryan's women's basketball team for the second season in a row. It's a family affair for the Johnsons at Bryan. 2:20 left, 63-54. Columbia International leading Bryan. Rams basketball. Oates around the Heathcock screen. 13 to shoot. Oates out for Wysong. Has the open jumper and sinks it from mid-range. Johnny Wysong with his first bucket here in the second half, but he's got 9 on the day. Grimes working on Brinson and goes off the window to answer. Timeout Bryan. 1:50 to play. It is 65-56. Columbia International over Bryan. 60-second break. We'll be back here in moments on the CIU Sports Network. It all comes down to this. 1:50 left. In this AAC clash, a 65-56. Columbia International 9-point lead over Bryan. Columbia International has put Bryan in the bonus. CIU with 18 fouls, Bryan with just 5. From here on out, Bryan will shoot at least a single free throw for each CIU foul. Jalen Brinson, DeAnthony Heathcock, Bryce Causey, Darian Oates, and Johnny Wysong, the 5 Rams on the floor. As Brinson works around the screen, he's guarded by Grimes. You've got Bowers, Bostic, Gales, and Ian Johnson out there defensively for the Bryan Lions. Brinson, kick out for Oates. Pump fake, corner 3. String music for Darian Oates. He's got a team high 21, and the Rams take a 12-point lead with 1:20 to go. Pass poked away by Heathcock. But back out of bounds, it will be Bryan basketball. Back near midcourt. A 1:14 left. Shot clock adjusted to 21 seconds for Bryan here. Grimes works his way to the top of the key. Bounces over to Gales, nearly skips away, but Gales able to recover. Takes the lane, middle of the paint, right hand off the glass. Timeout, Bryan. 62 seconds left, just a 30-second break. We'll keep it here. A 10-point lead for Columbia International, just over a minute remaining. CIU in this one shooting 45% from the floor. And Columbia International 33% from beyond the arc with 9 made threes. Comparatively, Bryan, they've shot 37% for the game. Right on par here in the second half as well. They're shooting 35% from the floor. But the main difference here in the second half for Bryan has been their lack of success from beyond the arc. Just 1 of 11 from three-point range here in the second half from Bryan, a team coming in that was shooting right at 32% from the perimeter through 3 games. Bryan, a team that's 3-0 and overcoming 3 halftime deficits to start the year. In this one, they trailed at the break by 5. Now with a minute left, they're down by 10 to CIU. Jalen Brinson fouled in the backcourt by Gales. 16th foul for Bryan. 1 away from sending CIU to the line. Exactly 1 minute on the game clock. A 10-point lead for CIU. Heathcock fouled as he caught the inbounds pass by Bostic. That's Bostic's 4th. And Bryan's 17th foul to send CIU into the bonus, and DeAnthony Heathcock to the line for a 1-on-1 opportunity. Heathcock 1 for 2 from the stripe this afternoon. He'll sink the first to earn a second. It's now an 11-point lead for Columbia International. 58 seconds left. Heathcock 2 for 2. And the Rams go on top 70-58. Under a minute to play. Grimes into the lane. Finishes with the left hand. And Bryan will take another timeout. This time a full 60 seconds, so we'll take it with him. 53 seconds left. A 10-point lead for CIU on the CIU Sports Network. .53 seconds left here this afternoon. It is 70-60. Columbia International over Bryan. Columbia International with 1 timeout left. Bryan is out. And they're going to work the final 53 seconds here, or at least the beginning of that, without Jamari Bostic on the floor. And he's got to be careful. He's out with 4 fouls right now, so you anticipate Bryan having a quick foul here on Columbia International as soon as they catch the inbounds pass. And CIU will have to use that final timeout here, unable to get the ball inbounds. It's a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it here. 53 seconds left in this one, a 70-60 Columbia International lead over Bryan. Catch you up to speed from Kingsport, Tennessee in the AAC Women's Volleyball Championship match. Columbia International and Bryan also facing off on the volleyball court today. And so far in the third set, Columbia International leads the match 2-0. And in that third set, CIU on top of Bryan 16-11 as CIU looks to make it back-to-back AAC titles and avenge their only loss of the season, which was to Bryan back in October. So good luck to the ladies over on the volleyball court. Back here to the hardwood in Columbia. 52 seconds left. They'll immediately foul Darian Oates. No, a jump ball. And the possession will go to Bryan. And now the referee's going to signal that CIU got a timeout. .9 seconds left. It is a full timeout, and we'll step aside here on the CIU Sports Network. .9 seconds left here on this Saturday as a 70-60 Columbia International lead over Bryan with under a minute to go. It's Columbia International basketball as they just had to use another timeout to avoid a jump ball that would have given possession back to Bryan. Causey now on the sidelines, gets it into Oates, who's immediately fouled. Ian Johnson there to commit the foul, his second. Team's 8th. Bostic checks back on. Couldn't be in on that last play for Bryan. You knew they were going to commit the foul to stop the clock, and Bostic has 4. Not a player they can lose. Their leading scorer today with 21. Darien knows the line for a 1-and-1. And he'll sink the first. Push the lead now to 11. And Oates sinks both. He's got 22 today. And it's a 72-60 Columbia International lead. Grimes with 38 seconds left nearly gives it away. Ball poked out of bounds by Heathcock. Bryan will retain the possession. They've got 21 seconds to shoot with 37 seconds left. Trailing by 12. Grimes into the lane is fouled by Wysong on a layup attempt. Johnny Wysong's 4th and Columbia International's 9th. As Grimes steps to the line for a pair. His first one up and in. Dye back on for Bostic, who's dealing with foul trouble. Grimes makes both, and the deficit back down to 10 for Bryan. 33 seconds left. Quick inbounds for Brinson. He's immediately fouled. Less than a second got off the clock. 32 ticks are left. As Jalen Brinson will head down to the free throw line, his first trip today. But Brinson a perfect 6 for 6 on the season. Bostic back in once again for Dye. And Columbia International will bring everybody back. No one in there for Brinson on these free throws. 2 seconds separate shot clock from game clock. Brinson's first attempt off the mark, his first miss of the season. A 10-point lead for Columbia International. Bryan basketball, 3-ball from Gales is a swish. 72-65 CIU. Brinson foul with 23 seconds left. Caleb Grimes picks up his 3rd personal. A 7-point lead for CIU. Brinson back to the line after missing that last attempt. Now the 10th team foul. Now he's got 2 shots. First one is in. The lead back to 8. And Brinson's second pinball's out. 20 seconds to play and an 8-point lead. Bryan sees Bostic hoist a 3-ball. It's off the mark. Loose rebound that Brinson grabs. He tries to escape the foul, but Grimes will get a hand in there with 11 seconds to go. Grimes has his 4th. Brinson, first free throw is in. (74-65) CIU in front. And he sinks the second to push the lead back to 10 with 11 seconds left. Grimes has the lane, and Columbia International will give it to him. Quick inbounds for Causey as he'll hold it with 4 seconds and run out the clock. Columbia International in a rematch of last year's AAC tourney title game has the same result. They take down Bryan 75-67 here on this Saturday afternoon. Leading the charge was Darien Oates. 23 points today on 8 of 13 shooting. That's Darien's first time in double figures this season after spending 20 of 31 games last year. in double digits. You also had Jalen Brinson adding in 11 as the other double-digit scorer today for Columbia International. Johnny Wysong mixed in 9 points across 20 minutes, shooting 50% from the floor. We'll step aside and be back for post-game coverage, including a comment from Tony Stoutman and our player of the game. We return on the CIU Sports Network. Back here on the CIU Sports Network, a Rams winner, 75-67 over Bryan. We'll check down the sidelines with our Claire Foley, who's standing by with Rams head coach Tony Stoutman. Claire?
Thanks, Kate. Coach, good team win here today. What'd you like about what you saw out there?
Yeah, it's like we talked at halftime because we just stay focused and continue to guard in the second half, and I thought we did a great job. I mean, 67, I thought that was great. I would have liked us to flow a little bit more on offense, but when we were up, we were playing not to lose instead of to win, so I think that's what happened a little bit. But I thought we executed when we needed to, but I thought we defended at a high level, which is really good.
Saw Darian get going for the first time really this year. What'd you like about what he was doing today?
Yeah, it's just who he is. When there's big games and we got good competition, he's going to show up for us. He's a tough guard. He can post, he can shoot. He's a smart decision maker. That's what we need him to do all year.
Jalen controlling the offense. You saw him really communicating out there. How important is that in a game like this?
Yeah, both of those guys, fifth-year seniors, so just the leadership. They've been there before. They've been in big games. So just, trying to bring people with them, understand we're good, just keep going. So that, you can't measure it. It's awesome.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
That's Claire Foley with head coach Tony Stoutman after his team's 75-67 win, though they wouldn't have come away with the victory without the play of Darian Oates today. 23 points on 8 of 13 shooting, including 3 made threes beyond the arc. And Claire Foley standing by with our player of the game. Claire?
Thanks, Kate. Here with Darian Oates. Darian, 23 points here today. What was working well for you?
Say it again, please.
What was working well for you out there today? 23 points.
My teammates are they still confident in me. They told me to keep shooting, so I just felt confident.
Awesome. Bryan's really a tough opponent. How big is a win like this for you guys as a team going forward the rest of the season?
It's really big because, early on to beat a team like that is really good because it shows that, working throughout the season, we basically got the chemistry early. So going through the rest of the season, it'll get better.
Talking to Coach yesterday, he was saying you guys are hanging out outside of games and practices too. What's this team like? What's the personality of this group?
Very goofy, we play around a lot, but that's what strengthened us on the court, and that's basically it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Darian.
Thank you.
And that's our player of the game, Darian Oates, as he finishes with 23 points this afternoon, a season high for Oates, his first time in double figures this year. Your final score, one final time this afternoon, 75-67. Columbia International takes down Bryan College with a victory. Columbia International gets back to 500 on the year, now 2-2 overall. Meanwhile, looking ahead, they pick up the conference victory for the second straight time. I say 2-2, 3-1 on the season is Columbia International. As for Bryan, they lose their first game of the year, 3-1 now overall, and they are now 1-1 in the AAC. That'll wrap up our coverage this afternoon from inside the Moore Fitness Center. A 75-67 Rams winner over Bryan College. Looking ahead, Columbia International will be in another exhibition matchup coming up next week on the 14th on the road at UNC Wilmington before returning home to take on Truett McConnell next week. Until then, for our entire CIU Sports Network crew, including Claire Foley down on the sidelines, I'm Kay Crenshaw saying so long. We'll see you next time. And as always, remember to smile.